in high definition, live, local, late breaking. This is WALV News 10s today in Georgia.
A suspected quadruple shooter due in a South Georgia courtroom today. The new details we learned overnight about the accused gunman's past.
Plus, the man who killed 2 Auburn football players is sentenced to prison. What Desmonte Leonard told the court before learning his fate.
Temperatures are up across South Georgia, 5 to 10, even 15 degrees warmer this morning, not needing to bundle up. We got a little patchy fog for our northern communities expected. The forecast is calling for one more really spring-like day, and then the changes come starting tomorrow. We'll have your 7-day outlook coming up.
Well, the man suspected of killing 1 man and injuring 3 others in Cairo over the weekend will make his first appearance in court today.
Now, this morning, we are learning more about the suspect. We've discovered that 28-year-old Delajuan Jones got out of prison in 2012 after serving an 8-year sentence in Florida for robbery and aggravated battery. Investigators say he opened fire on a crowd of people Saturday night outside Cairo Gas and Food Mart, killing 24-year-old Stanley Hill. He surrendered to police Monday night without incident.
He knew we were looking for him, and obviously we knew we were on his trail, and we figured out who it was. In this situation, it makes it safer if they just come and bring themselves in versus us having to go arrest them. We've got it in a controlled environment, and we can control it.
Martavion Moore and brothers Kentraw and Shantarius Brown were also shot, and they are currently in stable condition. Jones is due in court at 2 this afternoon at the Grady County Detention Center. A Georgia death row inmate who killed 2 people is scheduled to die next week by lethal injection.
The Supreme Court has denied a stay of execution for Warren Lee Hill and will not hear an appeal. Hill's lawyers argue he is intellectually disabled and therefore should be spared from execution on constitutional grounds. He was serving a life sentence at Lee State Prison for murdering his 18-year-old girlfriend when he beat fellow inmate Joseph Handspike to death with a nail-studded board in 1990. Again, that execution scheduled for next Tuesday.
And good morning, South Georgia. Not as cold as we get the morning rolling. Temperatures are in the lower 40s to upper 40s as opposed to all in the 30s like yesterday. We got 43 in Americus and Albany, Tipton 47 in Camille, 45 in Moultrie, Nashville, Douglas 46 right now in Fitzgerald, and 45 Homerville and Valdosta, so may not need to bundle up quite as much. We've got some clear skies, but we also have some low clouds and fog starting to develop here in our western communities. Randolph and Stewart County, you can see the clouds kind of moving on in here, and there could be some fog too. Matter of fact, the Peachtree City National Weather Service office has gone ahead and put out a dense fog advisory for Dooley County, Crisp County, Sumter County, and as we move into Webster and Stewart County, these areas are under a dense fog advisory until 10 a.m. That means visibilities could drop off to less than a quarter mile. So along Highway 280, that's the area that will have the potential for that fog. And right now, we actually are developing the fog first here in Albany, about a 2.5 mile visibility. So we're starting to see the visibilities drop off. So we're going to put the yellow light up. Watch out for some patchy fog this morning, and temperatures in the mid-40s.
Well, in about 5 hours, Empty Bowls will kick off its 4th annual fundraiser. It's a major event that helps 2 important organizations in Albany. WALB News 10's Nicole Rosales live right now outside the Albany Civic Center, where that event will soon take place.
This benefit, the Empty Bowls benefit, will have funds directed toward the Albany Area Arts Council and, of course, the Southwest Georgia Council on Aging. So this is something that is very popular in this area and sells out almost every single year. So Empty Bowls started about 4 years ago in the Albany area, and it still brings hundreds of people every single year. Now, the fundraiser allows local artists the opportunity to display their skills by crafting unique bowl pottery art, and these works come in from all over the state, from Atlanta down to artists right here in Dougherty County. Now, a ticket holder can purchase a bowl, and in exchange will be served lunch as well. Now, the money raised from Empty Bowls will go toward the Albany Area Arts Council, like I said, which helps new artwork in the area as well as keep the facility running. Now, the other part of the funds will go toward the focus of Southwest Georgia seniors, so that includes continued support for Meals on Wheels, and that helps seniors who are homebound get the food they need every single week, and that totals to hundreds of thousands of meals every year. So again, like I said earlier, this event tickets have been sold out for, so if you're lucky enough to have that ticket beforehand, it does start at 11 o'clock this morning here at the Albany Civic Center, and like I heard before or previously, that this line does get pretty long, so I suggest arriving just a little bit early so you can get the top pick of your bowl. So we're now live in Albany and Corozales for WALB News 10.
Breaking news from overnight, Albany police are searching for an armed robber after the subway was held up on North Slappy. According to Albany's police's Facebook page, they're searching for a black man that's 5'11", slim build, and last seen wearing a camo jacket and black hoodie. The robber was last seen running south on 11th Avenue. Police are asking that you call if you see anyone suspicious in the area. We'll be working to gather more details on this developing news, and we'll have more updates later this morning on WALB.com.
Well, fresh off the State of the Union speech, President Obama heading to Idaho today. The president pledging to work with Republicans, but in last night's State of the Union address, he unveiled an ambitious agenda steeped in Democratic priorities. ABC's Susan Salney reports.
The shadow of crisis has passed, and the State of the Union is strong.
President Obama unveiled an ambitious State of the Union agenda for his final 2 years in office, emboldened by rising job approval ratings and an improving economy.
Since 2010, America has put more people back to work than Europe, Japan, and all advanced economies combined.
The president took credit, claiming a vindication of his democratic policies.
Middle-class economics works. Expanding opportunity works. And these policies will continue to work as long as politics don't get in the way.
The president's priorities included middle-class tax cuts, paid sick leave, free community college education, and child care help for the middle class, all paid for with tax increases on the wealthiest Americans. He also called for a resolution from Congress to authorize the use of force against ISIS. Freshman Senator Joni Ernst delivered a Republican response that was grim in contrast to the president's upbeat view.
Americans have been hurting, but when we demanded solutions too often, Washington responded with the same stale mindset that led to failed policies like Obamacare.
Perhaps the feistiest moment of the night, an unscripted comment toward the end of the speech.
I have no more campaigns to run. My only agenda, I know because I won both of them.
And now President Obama is taking the traditional post-State of the Union road trip, bringing his message to Idaho and Kansas this week. Susan Salney, ABC News, Washington.
Students at Bacon Community Charter School coming together this week to remember a fallen student. 13-year-old Jackson O'Quinn died from an accidental gunshot wound Sunday afternoon. Everyone wore camouflage yesterday in memory of the teen. The principal tells us grief counselors had been at the school to help his fellow classmates.
You know, he's more than just a student. You know, we go to church together, and I see him in other places outside of school, and it's just going to be a big hole for a long time.
The family asked donations be made to the Hassan Shrine in Albany. The Mitchell County Sheriff's Office is investigating, but so far no charges have been filed.
Well, the state fire marshal is still investigating whether a Tift County home that burned to the ground was arson. This is what remains of the Sings family home on Upper Tai Tai Road that caught fire around 2 a.m. Monday. The family planned to move into the home within a few months after constructing it for nearly a year. They've also had a tractor and other equipment stolen off of the property. The Singh family plans to offer a reward, and the state will also offer a reward if they determine it was arson. Well, the verdict is in for a man accused of killing 3 men, including 2 former Auburn University football players. We've got the latest on that.
Plus, arena football coming back to Albany. We'll tell you how you can help the team choose its name. Well, after the loss of 2 indoor football teams, arena football making a comeback in Albany. Justin Andrews with 340 Group met with city officials Tuesday. He says they signed a contract with X-League Indoor Football to place a team in Albany. Preparations will take about a year, but he says they're very excited to have the sport here once again.
We miss it. You know, I supported the Wildcats when they were here. I thought it was great fun. It's great family fun, and you know, the people of Albany need something to do.
The video you're seeing there, that's the last indoor football team to play in the Civic Center. That was the Albany Panthers. They left town in 2013. Right now, organizers are putting together a coaching staff. They have a website set up, albanyfootball.com, with a list of potential team names that fans can select. A man has been arrested after stabbing another man in the back over the weekend. 33-year-old Torrey Jones was arrested Tuesday for aggravated assault with the stabbing of 32-year-old Michael Cullen. Authorities found Cullen on the ground outside a home on Gillespie Avenue. Cullen was taken to Phoebe Putney Memorial Hospital for treatment and was later released.
Well, an Albany woman hides under the covers after catching a thief in her bedroom. 24-year-old Cindy Hunt told police that she woke up after hearing someone rummaging through the drawers in her nightstand. The robber then demanded money. Hunt says she hid under the covers with her infant daughter until the man left the house. He was described as a black man with a dark complexion, a goatee, standing about 6 feet. He was wearing a camouflage hoodie. If you have any information, call Albany Police. Well, this morning, the man who shot 3 people dead near Auburn University, including a former South Georgia football standout, is beginning his first day of a life in prison sentence. Elizabeth White was in the courtroom when Desmonte Leonard offered an apology.
The shots Desmonte Leonard reportedly fired in self-defense will now force this 25-year-old to live the remainder of his life behind bars.
Emotionally, you're drained at this point because of the anticipation of what could happen. And, while life without parole is obviously a very serious matter, at least his life has been spared.
It's nothing easy about any of this for them. And they did it with honor and grace throughout.
Before the sentencing, Leonard stood before the court and offered an apology and asked for everyone's forgiveness. Judge Walker referenced the jury's inconsistent verdicts from October, finding Leonard guilty on all counts but one of the 2 attempted murder cases, something that still haunts the defense.
In all due respect to the jurors, I said it before and I say it now, I think that they got it wrong.
The prosecution respectfully still has similar feelings about the jury's sentencing recommendation, as it sought the death penalty. Family members of the slain victims who spoke today promised to support the judge's decision.
I never really thought about the death sentence before this, but I won't be mad either way that you make your decision today.
There's not much, I believe, that I could have said that would have changed the judge's mind. He's not somebody that any criminal defendant wants to show up in front of.
We take you live back to Brooklyn, New York. A deadly fire there this morning.
Yeah, we've learned that at least 1 person is dead as a result of that fire. 7 others injured. This started about 3:30 this morning. The fire broke out inside a hardware store, but above that hardware store are some loft apartments. And again, you can see fire crews on the scene. There was heavy smoke coming out of it as we took that in the 5 o'clock hour. Again, we've learned that the person who died, the victim here, jumped from a window and was killed when they hit the ground. We're keeping a close eye on that breaking news story this morning out of Brooklyn.
Temperatures are up. We got a little bit of fog out there, but we're going to see another very spring-like day. Right now, Lake Wax, you're not seeing the fog. Here in Albany, our visibility is starting to go down, so be careful on your morning commute. You can run into some patches of dense fog, especially along Highway 280 from Webster County over towards Crisp County.
Now, your WALB 24/7 weather with AMS meteorologist Chris Zellman.
Not as cold this morning at the bus stop, and we're also seeing some fog starting to develop. It'll be patchy, I believe, here in Albany. The best potential of seeing more widespread fog before northern communities where we do have a dense fog advisory. It's 43 here in Albany. Visibility has now shot back up. It was down to 2.5 miles, and all of a sudden, just like that, we're back up. It's 43 in Tifton, not seeing any fog in your vicinity, nor are we seeing it in Cordele, even though you do have a dense fog advisory until 10 a.m., 42. Again, many times the fog will develop as the sun rises, and we're still a little ways from that. 45 in Moultrie. Fitzgerald, you're at 46 right now. Valdosta, it's 45 degrees. So temperatures are up, 43 in Americus, and they'll be up this afternoon, spring-like, for another day. Matter of fact, I think today will be the peak of the spring-like conditions. We've been in the 68-degree temperature for the last 2 days. We've hit it on the head. Last 2 afternoons. Today we're going with 71 degrees, mostly sunny to end the day. There's a satellite radar composite. We do have these low clouds and fog kind of moving in from Alabama across our western and northern communities. And again, that will be the story as we go into the afternoon. Forecast-wise, we're talking about temperatures that will be warm today. There's our clouds and precipitation graphic. I don't know, it was a little delayed there, but we got a sloppy storm in the making here in Texas, and this will take a track right down through the Gulf of Mexico and then start to head back up to the north and east into South Georgia. The clouds will overtake us tomorrow. Rains will start to come in here as early as tomorrow evening, but look at Friday morning about this time. Wow, we're starting to get covered in the green, and the green will turn yellow, maybe a little red. What does that mean? Moderate to heavy rainfall possible as we go into our Friday. So patchy morning fog, spring-like warmth as we move in this afternoon. Sunglasses in order. Temperature 71. And then tomorrow 42 to 65. Clouds will thicken through the day. Temperatures will be down simply because of the cloud cover mostly. We'll have an itty-bitty rain chance coming in the evening. It's not itty-bitty on Friday. Whole lot of rain coming down. Umbrellas required, and temperatures will be down in the upper 50s. Cooler and drier this weekend.
A cat found himself in quite a pickle down in South Beach.
Find out how long it took this cat to be rescued from a storm drain. We've got that story for you coming up after the break. And we continue to follow more breaking news this morning. You're looking live at southbound I-75 in Cincinnati, which reopened late Tuesday night after a major overpass collapse.
Yeah, it shut down the interstate for about 24 hours. It left one person dead, injured a truck driver. Traffic, as you see, they're flowing smoothly so far. These images provided by our Raycom affiliate WXIX. Again, investigators don't know the exact cause of the collapse that is still under investigation this morning. Well, an America's man will spend the next several years in prison after pleading guilty to child porn charges. 23-year-old Douglas Roseth admitted posing as a teenage girl on social media and enticing young boys to expose themselves over the internet. Roseth faces a mandatory 15-year sentence and must register as a sex offender. This morning, Grady County officials need your help finding a wanted sex offender. Authorities say 55-year-old Maston Maynard Jr., who you see there on your screen, has active warrants for failure to register as a sex offender and a parole violation. He was last seen around December 3rd. Maynard's last reported address was 706 Boyette Road in Wiggum. If you know where he is, you're asked to call the Grady County Sheriff's Office at number 229-377-5200.
Well, one Albany City Commissioner is concerned fair practices are not being used when it comes to zoning. Commissioner B.J. Fletcher wants to make sure the city is complying with land use policies after seeing more growth in certain parts of the city. She says some neighborhoods are getting congested and have retail, housing, and hotels all in the same area.
I've been trying to really find what the land use policy is, and I just want to make sure we're in compliance with it. And then, you know, sometimes you hear that there's flexibility, and I just want to make sure the flexibility is fair straight across the board.
Albany City staff members say the Planning Commission follows guidelines that are outlined in something called the Comprehensive Plan, which is coming up for an update. All right, so we take you to Florida. A cat stuck in a Miami storm drain for more than 24 hours is finally free. Area residents heard the cat crying from inside the 8-inch pipe outside a Walgreens Monday night. Firefighters tried to free the cat Monday night, but they didn't have any luck. Fire crews returned to the scene Tuesday to try to get the cat out, and it was eventually freed a little before 9 p.m. Tuesday.
Well, most typical college dorm rooms, they are pretty boring, but not this one. We got the story behind the student who lives in a ball pit.
A police chase that began in the Washington suburbs ended at a security checkpoint outside the U.S. Capitol during the State of the Union address. Capitol Police are still gathering details, but they say it began as a chase after an armed robbery in Maryland. The suspect came to a stop at the security barriers at Washington Street Southeast in Delaware, just behind the Raven House office building on the south end of the Capitol. A spokesman said the driver nearly hit a security barrier.
Well, in just a few hours, hundreds of people will gather at the Albany Civic Center to kick off the 4th annual Empty Bowls fundraiser. WALB News 10's Nicole Rosales live outside the Civic Center with more on the event and who it helps out.
Organizers say they feel the support from the community every year, and they hope to continue the long tradition. Today is the 4th annual Empty Bowls, an event that supports two major organizations in Albany, the Southwest Georgia Council on Aging and the Albany Area Arts Council.
They do art. We help seniors. And so on the outside, it looks like we would have nothing in common, but how we can come together and have such a great event that really includes the whole community, to me, is a real sweet part.
This is from a lady in Macon.
The fundraiser allows local artists to show off their talents by handcrafting special pottery. Over 400 bowls will hit the tables this morning. Part of the money collected will go toward keeping the art center thriving, and the rest will support
Meals on Wheels, a popular program with the Council on Aging.
We deliver about 187,000 meals a year in Southwest Georgia.
Organizers say the event has been a success every year.
Well, I always love watching everyone come in and their eyes when they see the handmade pottery, and they just look everything over real quick and try to see which piece they want and have a hard time choosing because they're all so beautiful.
Each person who buys a bowl will also get treated to a special lunch. Those involved believe this helps tie the community together.
The restaurants coming in and providing the food year after year, the artists providing the pottery, these are handmade pieces of art that they make all year long thinking about this event.
An opportunity for neighbors to fill up on good food and good company. So again, this is a huge event. Ticket holders, you should arrive here around 11 o'clock. And like I said earlier, it did sell out. So you want to arrive as early as you can to get the top pick. So it's going to be here at the Albany Civic Center, like I said, in just a few hours. Right now we're live in Albany. Nicole Rosales for WALB News 10.
Well, this morning, an accused peeping Tom in the Thomas County Jail after police say neighbors spotted him looking in their windows. 17-year-old William Newsom is jailed on peeping Tom charges. Neighbors tell investigators they found ladders and buckets underneath their windows, which led them to believe someone was trying to look inside.
Peeping Toms are the one case that normally scare law enforcement because they normally progress to something a lot more serious. Peeping Toms historically turn into rapists.
And Newsom bonded out last week but was picked up on disorderly conduct charges and remains in jail. Netflix ended its fiscal year on a high note. The video streaming service added a whopping 4.3 million new subscribers in the fourth quarter of 2014. That number topped Netflix's own projections. Netflix also reported a fourth quarter profit of more than $83 million. Netflix says it has 57.4 million subscribers around the world. In a letter to investors Tuesday, Netflix predicted the service will achieve must-have status in most households.
All right, so I just heard that X-Files may be making a comeback, the TV show. I love that show. And another win for UFO believers. Secret government files on the possible existence of unidentified flying objects are no longer secret. 130,000 pages documenting Air Force investigations have been declassified and are now available online. A UFO enthusiast has been asking for the files for years. The so-called Project Blue Book collection is now posted on his online database called the Black Vault, and you can see it for free. The collection contains some of the most famous alleged sightings from 3 official government investigations into UFOs.
Do you believe?
I do. I think there's a big unknown out there. Well, New Kids on the Block coming back. The 80s and 90s pop group announced it will be touring with TLC and Nelly this summer. Donnie, Jordan, Jonathan, Danny, and Joey will kick off their first of 47 tour dates May 1st in Las Vegas.
No one is more excited than Chris Zellman. Loves New Kids on the Block. Not every college kid keeps a tidy dorm room, but one student has turned his pad into a pit, a ball pit. Cyan Rhodes reports.
On the outside, it looks like a normal male-occupied dorm room, but once you get past all the game consoles, you see 3 little clues that let you know something different is going on behind this door.
And here we are. It's my room.
How did your room become a ball pit?
Well, I ordered a bunch of plastic balls and then I put them into the room.
But why, David? That's the people are going to see this and be like, why?
A lot of people are like, why? But then they think about it for a second. They're like, wait, no, that just sounds awesome.
David got his awesome idea last semester and paid $500 for 13,000 plastic balls.
Like any good project, it's never really done.
And just like any good ball pit, there are rules.
No food or drinks. If you make out, you get out, and no peeing.
Assured that I wouldn't break those rules.
Why don't we get in?
Okay.
Is that something we can do?
I went for it. Okay, so what do we do once we're in here?
Well, I'm playing a game right now. I'm totally beating you.
Rice University says after some initial concerns,
it's super safe.
They'll let David keep his balls.
Touring And some Darton State College employees are without a job. The school announced Tuesday it laid off some employees. Officials would not tell us how many jobs were eliminated, but said it was less than 8. Some staff have been reassigned to other positions at the college, and those who lost their jobs can apply for other vacancies. Darton State does not have plans for additional layoffs this fiscal year, but would not rule it out.
Not as cold this morning. Partly cloudy skies, a little patchy fog, 44 degrees. Winds are fairly light. They'll be out of the northwest by midday, 64, and the climb up to 70. Today will be the peak of the spring-like weather, so if you like the last couple days, you're going to like today. And then the changes start to come our way tomorrow. Clouds, rain, cold. Winter is going to make a return. It's 43 right now in Albany. It's 49 in Tallahassee, 44 Tallahassee, Atlanta, 41 in Montgomery, 44 in Mobile, Alabama. Huntsville's 38, 53 right now in Jacksonville. There's that big gray blob there. You see it in the southeast corner of Alabama, now starting to come into our north and western communities, and that is the low clouds and the fog that's kind of making its way towards us. It should burn off pretty quickly. You can see how it just disappears, so it won't last too long, but that area could see some dense fog along Highway 280. We've got a dense fog advisory until 10 a.m. But right now, we don't have the visibilities dropping off that much. We'll take another look here in just a little bit. Frontal system didn't do much for us, but this low pressure, it'll do a lot for us. Look at all the rain in Texas here, South Texas. That rain is going to be moving into our area as early as tomorrow evening, overspreading us, and it is going to be a wet Friday. We're expecting as much as 1 to 3 inches of rain. Low pressure is going to track right over top of us, so the rain really will not let up until about sunrise Saturday. Partly cloudy, 42 for tonight. Tomorrow, we're at 65 with clouds increasing. And there's that map again. It's going to mean heavy rainfall, 1 to 3 inches. The warm front should stay to our south, so the threat of any thunderstorms should stay mainly in Florida.
A Kentucky teenager captured after a multi-state crime spree talks for the first time from jail.
Yeah, hear what he has to say about his run from the law, where he was heading, and why he did not get there.
Well, another breaking news story out of New York, New York City this morning. Police say a 36-year-old man has died after he was found stabbed in the chest near Times Square. This was, I guess, late Tuesday night?
Yeah, late Tuesday night. This morning, we still don't know the name of the man. As you mentioned, a 36-year-old man found at West 40th Street, 7th Avenue with 2 stab wounds to the chest about 9:30 last night. You can see traffic is flowing this morning along Times Square. Normally a very safe area because it's so many people walking, traveling down this very populated, very popular spot in New York City. But again, a man stabbed to death there last night in New York City.
Well, Albany City Commissioners gave the go-ahead to move forward with a multi-million-dollar project to extend Westover Boulevard and alleviate traffic on Nottingham Way. Once complete, Westover Boulevard will extend and run underneath the Liberty Expressway connecting to Lido Road. Commissioners are also considering installing a roundabout in that area versus a traffic light, which some say is much safer.
Studies have shown that the roundabout is significantly safer, upwards of 35% reduction in crashes as opposed to a traffic signal.
Now, this project will be completely funded by GDOT, and the city will be in charge of any future maintenance. The project is expected to be complete in 2020 and will cost about $12.5 million. Well, who says you can't go parasailing in the winter? In Canada, a man used a parasail Tuesday to move across frozen parts of Lake Ontario and Frenchman's Bay. That's just outside of Toronto. With the temperatures hovering around 10 degrees Fahrenheit, the ice of the lake near the shore was strong enough to support the activity usually reserved for the summer. A news chopper went up to give us a good look at the action, not for the faint-hearted. Hopefully we can get our own news chopper and, you know, kind of shoot cool stuff like that.
Wouldn't that be neat? Chopper 10.
Yeah.
Kentucky teenager accused of a string of crimes across the South with his 13-year-old girlfriend speaking out for the first time from his jail cell. He said the two had planned to make it all the way down to Miami. Corey Dobrodina has more.
I asked her how old she was, and she lied to me and told me she is 18 for the longest time.
A tired and weary Dalton Hayes spoke from a room at the Bay County Jail Tuesday, sharing his story for the first time since his arrest.
I kept asking how old she was. She kept telling me 18, almost 19.
One thing the teen is insistent on is when his relationship with Cheyenne started, his not knowing her real age.
Cause she told me she had a truck, she had a license, she had all that good stuff. And then she said, I'm 18, I'm not lying to you. I said, all right. She had fake IDs, she showed me. She had job stuff, she showed me.
But when the 18-year-old discovered his girlfriend was only 13, the two went on the run, eluding authorities over the last 2 weeks before police caught up with them in Panama City Beach. The entire time knowing the underage teen had become pregnant and was carrying his child.
We was fighting and arguing again. She said, by the way, I had a miscarriage, I just didn't know how to tell you. And I was like, man, all you had to do is just tell me something.
After his arrest, Hayes was charged with a warrant out of Kentucky for custodial interference of a minor. He was booked into the Bay County Jail Sunday. In court on Monday, the teen waived his right to an extradition hearing and now awaits transport back to Kentucky.
I guess the question everybody wants to know is, was it all worth it?
No. That was worth the last 14 days with her, because that's what made me happy, spending my time with her. It wasn't worth putting my niece and my nephew behind. No.
24-hour temperature change shows temperatures are 5 to 15 degrees warmer this morning than yesterday morning, so we're all in the 40s. Yesterday we were all in the 30s. We had some frost yesterday. The day before we were freezing. So we're on a warming trend. 41 in Americus right now, 43 here in Albany, 47 Camilla. It's 45 in Bainbridge. It's 45 also in Moultrie, 43 Tifton. 50 the mildest location right now, Fitzgerald, 45 Nashville, 45 Valdosta, and 46 right now in Thomasville. And so we have some fog, and where is it? Right here in Albany at the airport right now. 3/4 mile visibility where we have this dense fog advisory, though we're not seeing the visibilities drop off for our northern communities, but that's where the dense fog advisory is. We're going to call for patchy fog this morning, so be careful on your commute. You can see kind of the low clouds and fog trying to move in here from the Chattahoochee River up towards Eufaula, from Lake Seminole northward into Highway 280 and now down towards Highway 82. So we are seeing the low clouds and fog trying to develop our way. We're also tracking this storm system. This is going to be our next weather maker. It's going to bring us a big sloppy storm into our area starting as early as tomorrow evening, but especially Friday. So a little fog this morning, not cold, not as cold, but it'll be just as warm, if not warmer this afternoon. We're talking mid-60s at noontime. 70 degrees this afternoon. This evening, we're going to see the clouds come back overnight, and we'll go from about 50 to 40, lower 40s tomorrow, and then the clouds will continue to thicken, and as we go through the day, temperatures will be held down by that cloud cover. We'll have more on your forecast coming up, guys.
Well, the Atlas V rocket blasted into space Tuesday night.
We'll tell you why this rocket is, or what this rocket is carrying, rather, into space when we come back. Stay with us.
2. We have RD-180 ignition, and we have liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket carrying the third mobile user objective system mission.
You heard it there. United Launch Alliance's Atlas V rocket in outer space this morning blasted into the sky. The launch took place at Cape Canaveral. After several delays, the rocket is carrying a 7.5-ton Navy communications satellite that is headed for orbit 22,000 miles above Earth. The Navy says the satellite will facilitate communications with fighter jets. The ULI is a joint venture between Boeing and Lockheed Martin.
Albany police expect more arrests after they nabbed a teenager for stealing. Authorities arrested 17-year-old Kavazi Robinson for stealing property after they recovered several items from his Maryland Avenue home. They believe Robinson was involved in entering autos of guests from the Georgia Quail Invitational, Lake Park Barbershop, the Sewing Machine Shop, and the CD Exchange. Robinson is charged with theft by taking, 2 counts of burglary, and 2 drug charges. Albany police say victims should contact them to identify property they recovered. Additional arrests and charges are expected.
Rescue crews will attempt to recover the fuselage of the crashed AirAsia plane using floating bags to help lift it to the surface of the water today. Only 53 bodies have been retrieved so far, but most of the remaining bodies are thought to be trapped inside the plane's fuselage. Rough sea conditions in the past 2 days have repeatedly prevented divers from reaching the wreckage. Indonesia's transport minister says the plane was climbing at an abnormally high rate, then plunged and suddenly disappeared from radar. Radar data showed the Airbus 320 was climbing about 6,000 feet a minute, an unusually rapid rate before it disappeared.
Volunteers at many South Georgia animal shelters need your help.
We'll tell you how you can help out during an upcoming fundraiser. That's coming up in 4 minutes.
Now, your WALB 24/7 weather with AMS meteorologist Chris Sullivan.
Temperatures are up this morning, generally in the 40s to around 50 like we're showing here in Tifton, our Alpha Camera Network. Looks pretty good here along I-75. A little different story as we get into Albany. We actually have a little bit of fog at the airport. We have a dense fog advisory. Portions of South Georgia where we're not seeing the fog yet, but it could develop as we go towards sunrise. 43 in Albany, 45 in Bainbridge, 45 also in Valdosta. It's 50 in Fitzgerald. The coolest location in the state right now, Macon, 36, 38 in Augusta. It's 41 in Athens, 44 in Atlanta. So clear skies for most of the state until you get to the western and southwestern corner here as low clouds and fog starting to invade, and we have a visibility that's down here in Albany. Dense fog advisory along Highway 280, Cordele, Americus, into Randolph, or Stewart County, I should say, Webster County. Those areas are under a dense fog advisory until 10 a.m., so be careful on your morning commute. But again, the fog has been kind of showing up here in Albany, off and on. Now we're up to 2 miles and down to a quarter mile in Blakely. So be careful for your morning commute. We'll talk about temperatures generally in the lower to middle 40s and some patchy fog putting up the yellow light. A forecast for today will be all about the spring-like warmth as temperatures will top off at 71 degrees and sunshine should dominate the afternoon. We'll get the clouds and fog out of here. Temperatures will range from 69 to as warm as 74. Clouds thicken tomorrow. And then the rain chances, wow, they're way up starting tomorrow evening, but they'll peak on Friday. Temperatures in the upper 50s, cooling this weekend.
President Obama hitting the road this morning to promote the policy ideas he laid out in last night's State of the Union address. Free tuition for community college and more emphasis on high-tech jobs were two items the president mentioned in his speech. President Obama will speak at Boise State University and visit an engineering lab on campus. He's scheduled to appear at the University of Kansas on Thursday.
Volunteers at many South Georgia animal shelters say they just don't have the money nor the space to take care of hundreds of animals that come through their doors every month. But staff members at the Bainbridge Decatur County Humane Society say their building is falling apart, has mold, drainage issues, and proper ventilation. A recent 5-acre donation will allow the shelter to build a brand new facility. They're hosting a fundraiser to cover construction costs. The event will take place at the Firehouse Gallery on January 31st. We've got more news for you coming up after the break.
Stay with us. Following the developing story this morning, we're working to get surveillance video of an armed robbery at an Albany subway.
A gunman held up the North Slappy subway around midnight. According to APD's Facebook page, the robber was wearing a camo jacket and black hoodie. He was last seen running south on 11th Avenue. No one was hurt.
Marvelous sunrise just about to get going here in Moultrie, where we have clear skies. That's not the case for everyone. Our western communities invaded by clouds and even a little fog, so be careful for patches of fog along Highway 280. We have a dense fog advisory, but right now those areas are not seeing the fog. Blakely has the lowest visibility. Here in Albany, our visibility has gone off and on, so we saw patches of fog. 43 is where we'll start. 63 at midday, and you like the spring warmth? Well, look at that. 71 degrees this evening, 59. Temperatures are going to cool a little bit tomorrow. Clouds will thicken, and then the rains overtake us on Friday. There will be periods of heavy rainfall. Right now we're forecasting 1 to 3 inches of rain. Temperatures will be cool on Friday. Don't call it chilly now. We thought we'd stay around 50. Now we are in the upper 50s, but it's going to be raining, so you'll need your jackets and umbrellas. Saturday, it's cooler and breezy. We'll see clearing skies and just an itty-bitty rain chance in the morning. And it looks like the drier of the 2 days will be Sunday, also the colder of the 2 days, as temperatures will fall, maybe a little patchy frost on Sunday. There will be another frontal system moving through Monday. That one should be moisture starved. and bringing even colder conditions, maybe down in the upper 20s. So we're back into some more winter-type weather as opposed to this little January thaw we got going on right now.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Remember, you can get the latest from our website, WAOV.com, also from our Facebook page and from Twitter.
Stay tuned. Today's show is next on NBC, GMA on ABC. Have yourself a good Wednesday. We'll see you back here at noon.